Greetings! I'm Catherine of Sky, and I hope to make your day refreshingly Swedish. So today we're going to be reacting to some written news articles by Swedish news sources. And they're going to be linked in the description below, so you can check them out on your own. I do have a plugin on my browser that makes it dark, so they're normally like in black and white mode where the background is white. So if it looks different on your screen, that's why. I also have the Google Translate add-on installed onto the screen. So it might sound slightly weird because it's translated from Swedish into English. These are actual Swedish news sites that you can check out. But I kind of wanted to see what they say about the whole Trump thing. And I've chosen a couple of very specific articles to talk about today. One of the horrible things, I think, is Trump wanting to remove DEI, the diversity, equality, inclusion clauses from many companies. And he threatened international companies, if you don't remove it, then we won't trade with you. And to my great shame and embarrassment, Ericsson, our company in Sweden, has bowed to Trump. I'm not happy about this. All right, so let's see what they say. Ericsson washes away diversity following Trump's demands. Donald Trump demands that European companies remove diversity and inclusion requirements, something that Swedish telecom giant Ericsson is now giving into. In a letter to European business people, Trump prohibits guidelines on diversity, equity, should be equality, and inclusion if they are to do business with the United States. The French Ministry of Commerce was furious at the announcement, describing it as unacceptable. Ericsson, what are you doing? Hello. Seriously, it's just disgusting to me. Sweden's Ericsson, which recently donated millions to Trump's inauguration, has for years emphasized the importance of diversity and inclusion in its annual reports. Now, it should be noted, and I don't know if this is the newspaper missing things or it doesn't exist. I talked to Matthias about this. He's my partner. He's a native Swede. And he says that a lot of these companies donate to both campaigns. Like they might have donated to Harris and Trump at the same time. So I don't know if that's so or not. But they say it here. And I don't know if that's I don't know. They skipped it or what. Or they didn't donate to Harris's campaign. I don't know. But it's weird that, and it says for years, they've emphasized the importance of diversity and inclusion. But now the words diversity and inclusion have been removed from the 2024 annual report. Why would you remove things that happened in the past? I don't get it. It has instead renamed equal treatment and equal opportunities, and is no longer described as a goal, but as an ambition. Oh, you're trying to hedge your bets, Ericsson, but we see through it. At the same time, Volvo chooses to keep the words. Go Volvo. Okay. Ericsson has been investigated by the U.S. Department of Justice on suspicion of bribing IS in Iraq. That's not good. In February, Donald Trump issued an executive order to pause the measures until new and revised guidance was found on how FCPA Act should be applied, something that could mean that the investigation is now put on hold. Okay. So that is one of the most annoying and shameful things that has happened this week. Anyway, let's look at the next article. And I think this is quite interesting. This is a news site, right? And some of the things they say are quite amusing, which you probably wouldn't see in an American newspaper. Okay, Trump linked first. No one believes the White House's claim that Trump's U-turn was planned. It was the market that broke him. The U.S. president, and by the way, this was published. It was today at 16:07. Okay. And today is, let me just look, Thursday. It's Thursday today. that I'm recording this. The U.S. president is playing a high game, but he was the one who blinked first. But amidst all the relieved stock pressure sentiment, it's easy to forget that Trump has imposed 10% tariffs on the entire world. They remain in place. So this is about the reversal of the tariffs on everyone but China and, everybody gets 10%, but China has the high tariffs. Trump and his economic advisors claim that the plans to impose the tariffs all along was to force other countries to come to the negotiating table. In that case, the tariffs were completely unnecessary maneuver. The EU has been trying for weeks to get negotiations started with the U.S. So this is another reason you should not believe what you hear from Trump. He is a liar. And we know that from, I think there's a website that tracks how many times a day he lies based on his tweets or retruths and the truthy whatever app thing. They actually track how many times a day he lies. Anyway, so as have a number of other countries, but interest from Trump has been minimal, if not non-existent. So he basically shut everybody out, didn't care if people wanted to negotiate. He's just going to do it anyway. Perhaps it was a tactic to keep countries on their toes in order to soften them up, make them more willing to meet the U.S. But Trump was taking the entire world economy into the abyss with his aggressive attitude. No joke. He was prepared for major, in his eyes, temporary stock market falls. He could put up with violent criticism from political opponents. But when long-term interest rates began to rise at the same time as the stock market fell, all the warning lights flashed red. The United States ran the risk of having interest rates on its gigantic national debt sharply raised. It already pays $1 trillion a year in interest. Okay, so this is really important because we have heard from Trump that the reason he wants to put these tariffs in place is to pay down the national debt. So basically, he's done an action or put into place an action that has completely gone against what he said he wanted. The threat of a new financial crisis loomed. It would have been a development directly opposite to what Trump wanted to achieve with its tariff war. Yes, indeed. Trump also received signals from leading Republican senators and businessmen that support for Trump's tariff plan was beginning to reach the end of the road. So his camp is no longer trusting him. We should also send a thought of gratitude to China. It was Xi Jinping's decision not to back down, but to respond with counter tariffs that contributed to the U.S. fixed income market rushing upwards at a time when interest rates should normally have fallen. Perhaps Trump also glanced at the polls and saw that his popularity had dropped significantly in the past 2 months. Party colleagues warned him that if he continued, the Republicans would lose the midterm elections next year. So this is another important part of American politics, is that when you have all of the different states have their own governmental elections as well. And they want to have as many Republicans in those positions, as well as the senators and the House of Representatives in the national government. They want as many people as they can to be Republican, and so to support the president's ideas. So they're worried now that Americans are going to lose faith in the party and that they won't be able to get those seats. It took 13 hours from the time the tariffs were imposed until Trump paused them. It was so funny because I remember they were talking about, he's planned these tariffs and he's going to stay the course. And we're so proud of him that he stayed the course and put the tariffs into action. And it was like something like 12 hours or something. And now, 13 hours and he took them down. Amazing. So that says a lot about how the president keeps shooting from the hip rather than following a set plan. And this is bad because businesses like steady laws. They like a steady government. It's very good for business when things are fairly predictable with the government, right? They know what they owe. They know what's going to happen. They know what trade is like, what their costs are going to be, what their margins are going to be. So his chaotic decision making is nuts, and it's going to drive business away. The Treasury Secretary and other advisors are trying to save Trump from looking weak. Good luck with that. But because their stories keep diverging, the effect is instead a sense of ongoing total chaos. Yeah. Trump tried to save face by further raising tariffs against China, but couldn't hide the fact that he was the one who blinked first in the tariff war. When he now negotiates with the 75 countries he says are in line, it is from a weakened position. Everyone knows that Trump does not dare to go against the market's reactions, which will make countries less inclined to accommodate the U.S., especially since the very basis of Trump's tariff calculations consist of pure made-up numbers. Yeah. The world remembers how Trump backed down on tariffs even the last time he was president. Yeah. So they're taking, what happened in the past when he was president and say, he doesn't have the bravery to go forward with this. He never did. I mean, he's a coward. We all know that. However, a warning must be issued to the outside world. The relief that is now arising when Trump backs down is a result of the fear of a depression in the world economy being so strong. The risk is not gone. After all, Trump has managed to impose 10% tariff on goods from all over the world, a completely unique measure that will, at least in the short term, generate revenue for the U.S. Treasury. The outside world cannot quietly accept this tariff increase. In the negotiations, it is important to start from the situation that existed before Trump introduced new tariffs. Otherwise, Trump has already won a victory at the start of the talks. However, the U.S. will have to pay a price. Trump's handling of the tariff issue has seriously damaged the world's trust in the U.S. as a reliable trading partner. Yeah, we've already seen that. I mean, people are boycotting U.S. brands. They are quite upset. They are angry. And when you have that kind of emotional reaction, people are not just going to switch back to American products. He has generated a lot of hate, like anger and strong feelings and hate. And, in Europe, we also don't like the whole Nazi salute from Elon Musk. That is not okay with us. We do not just brush that under the rug. That is not okay. And most people in Europe would consider Elon Musk a very evil person. I mean, even for, and the whole U.S. is right now, they're doing mass deportations without fair trial. They are, there's a lot of racism going on. There's people being held in custody just for visiting the U.S. Like, what is going on? It's getting crazy, signs that were happening in the 1940s with another dictator we are all aware of. All right, so let's see. So he's damaged the world's trust in the U.S. as a trading partner. The message is constantly changing. I think that's really important too. There's no steadiness. There's no trust in the government at all, never mind in Trump. No one knows what is in effect. Trump could change his mind again at any time and impose even higher tariffs or make other decisions that negatively affect the world. Yeah, of course. The uncertainty and chaos are eroding America's confidence as a nation. In Germany, voices are being raised to take back the country's gold reserves, which are in vaults in the U.S. Federal Reserve. Wow. Leading German politicians no longer trust the U.S. and want to take the gold home. Yeah, there's also been a lot of talk about replacing the U.S. dollar as the world sort of like go-to currency and having a reserve of U.S. dollars. I think Japan has already taken out sold their reserve of U.S. dollars, which is quite serious. And I saw a video about how the euro might become the next trusted currency that you would invest in as a company. As a country. Okay, similar signs are coming from many other countries. In the long run, the United States and American consumers risk becoming the big losers from Trump's love of tariffs. Yeah. Now 90 days of the new roller coaster await as Trump negotiates with the entire world at the same time. The risk is that will continue to be a very rocky journey. Yeah, he promised to pause the tariffs for 90 days. I'm surprised it wasn't like 9 hours because he loves to change his mind and just to keep people crazy. But people here are not going crazy. We're just like, we're going to ignore that crap over there. We don't want the U.S. Go away. We're not interested. Thanks. Bye. Okay. Last article I want to talk about today. This is from Expressen, another newspaper in Sweden. Okay. Musk's AI bot. I don't know if you guys heard about this. So the whole Trump pausing tariffs thing is very, very serious because people say that he did it on purpose so that they could make money on buying and selling stocks. So that's what this article is about. Musk's AI bot Musk's AI bot Trump's tip could be insider trading. Hours before the tariff break was announced, Trump gave a little stock tip, a perfect time to buy, all in caps. A post that raised questions about insider trading, including Elon Musk's AI bot. The timing looks suspicious. Oh my God. So, if you don't know about America's laws in stock markets, insider trading, a situation where you have people who have knowledge about what a company is going to do are not allowed to trade stocks based on that knowledge. So, for example, if you have a company and you're the owner and you're going to maybe merge with another company and it's secret and you think the stock price is going to go up, like, the public doesn't know about this. And if you buy the stock thinking it's going to go, knowing it's going to go up after you merge, then that's insider trading and that's illegal in the US. So you're not allowed to game the market. However, Trump has immunity. Any action he does as president was decided last year by the supremely stupid court that he doesn't have to face any consequences. He doesn't have to face any responsibility for actions that he does. He could literally, and he was talking about, he could literally send a SEAL team out to assassinate someone and he wouldn't be put into jail. And I think that's outrageous. I think those people on the court are idiots, all of them. And they don't understand how dangerous they made this dictator, because Trump is a fascist dictator. This is not a question anymore. I've seen many news sources calling it the Trump regime. That is not a democratic term. Anyway, so insider trading, let's get back to this. A person who has insider information and at the same time buys or sells securities is guilty of the crime of insider trading, as we talked about. So when the U.S. president wrote on the platform on Wednesday, "This is a perfect time to buy DJT," just hours before he paused the tariffs, what is it? DJT is an abbreviation for Trump Media and Technology Group Corp. That's probably the stock symbol, I would think. And the post has been questioned as insider trading. It was posted just minutes after the U.S. stock market opened on Wednesday. The stock market then rose to record levels for the broad S&P index of the New York Stock Exchange. It was the biggest increase in a single day since 2008. What interesting. I'm really surprised that he didn't send private emails or private messages. Why would he do something so obviously stupid? Maybe because he doesn't have to face any consequences. That might be as well. Okay, look for the smallest signal. The post is being questioned by Elon Musk's AI bot Grok, among others. When asked if Trump's actions are legal, Grok replies, "It is unclear whether Trump's move was legal." His buy DJT tweet before announcing a tariff break raised concerns about insider trading and market manipulation. As president, he likely had non-public information which could violate securities laws if used for profit. The consequences may be that investors, large and small, will interpret everything said by the president as a signal about the market. Does it break the rules? I don't know. Not that Trump follows any rules. Now, of course, you will be looking for the slightest signal from Trump, says manager David Wagner to Bloomberg. Democratic member Mike Levin writes on X that what Trump posted was market manipulation. How is this legal or okay? He writes. Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez writes on X that congressional leaders who have traded stocks in the last 48 hours should report it. It's a high time to ban insider trading in Congress. Yep. Okay, and that's all they say in this article. But I wanted you to know about this, and I feel like Swedish news sources are a lot more balanced than American news sources in terms of reporting facts. And obviously, there's a little bit of editorializing with the negativity, but I mean, he is insane. We all know this. This is a fact by now. But they report the facts instead of Trump's like, oh yeah, these tariffs are reciprocal tariffs because other countries were charging us tariffs. That is purely, patently false. It is objectively false. You can falsify it just by doing a simple search on the internet about other countries' tariffs on the U.S. say in 2024, before he announced tariffs. I've been doing a lot of searches myself just to confirm, is this correct? Were there tariffs? And I found out that most countries had limited to zero tariffs. Most countries had zero tariffs. It was all free trade, and then some of them had specific tariffs on specific goods. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting. I really like the Swedish news for its, telling the truth about what's happening in the world. And I think that, if you're interested in these kinds of things, check out Swedish news. I mean, I don't speak very much Swedish, so I rely on the Google Translate. And as you see, I mean, it's not questionable. It's a smart translation. Yeah, check that out. The links to the articles are in the description below. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so very much for joining me. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next time.